Monday, May 11th edition of the Question Blog Talk Radio Conversation with me, Doug Padgett, your host. Welcome aboard. Those of you who are watching this on the video feeds, this is part 2 of the show. Those of you who are on the Blog Talk Radio side, you just keep it rolling. And those of you watching live at ustream.tv, same for you. You just sort of keep it rolling. So we've already talked to you about Happy Mother's Day, and I'm going to have the mother of my children in here today talking with us about natural health at 10:30. For her name is Shelley Padgett, and she's our co-host on Mondays. So she will be with us momentarily. So hang in there, good folks. Hey, in the news, headline, Peel 'em and weep. First class stamps rise 2 cents. I don't know if you know this or not, but the price of a stamp has now gone up to 44 cents, unless you bought those forever stamps, which I'm a big fan of the forever stamps. I didn't know the price was going up. I got them right here. Big fan of them. If I had known the price was going up, I would have stocked up last week. I don't know why I'm not paying attention. I guess I'm not following U.S. Postal Service tweets regularly enough. I need to move them a little higher in my favorites list. No, okay. Here's my thoughts on the price of a stamp. 44 cents. That's all it costs to have a guy come to my house, pick up that letter, carry it, and have it hand delivered to the address on the envelope, and they only charge me 44 cents. I feel like they could have the price of a stamp go up 2 cents a week, and I would still say it's a great deal. It is a great deal. I mean, it's unbelievable, folks. Don't you? Really. The price of most things are way out of line. And then postage stamps are sort of at the economic level of child care providers, like ridiculously low. I live on sort of an old-fashioned street where we don't have a big mailbox at the end of the street. We have them right up at my house, and the mailman walks up to my door every day, Monday through Saturday, walks up to my door and hand delivers packages of mail to me. It's unreal. And then if I have something to mail, I sometimes I go drop in the mailbox because I just hate to load up this guy. But if it's just a letter or two, then I'll put it here, and he's glad to take it. And I'm thinking 44 cents. I'm glad to pay it. Glad to pay it. I don't know about the rest of you, but if you don't know your postal worker, I'm at the disadvantage here on our street because our street is the fill-in a postal carrier. So the person who's filling in, like there's no permanent person. It's always somebody who gets some other route, and then they also get ours. So every week or two we end up with a different postal carrier. But I try to say hello to the folks when they come by and thanks. I mean, maybe when it reaches $1 a letter, I'll sort of feel like, this is probably fair. 44 cents. That's all it costs for someone to hand deliver mail. Now, I guess if you're in big business and you're mailing a lot of mail and you're like, hell, it's 44 cents for every envelope. I mean, I got 500 of them out there, and how come they got to charge me that much for each one of them? Maybe that's the difference. Maybe it's just the little tick, tick, tick folks like me that are like, greatest deal in the country. And not only is it a great financial deal, these people have somehow made a promise that what they're going to do is deliver that mail to you no matter what. If it's raining, if it's sleeting, if it's snowing, if it's storming, they're going to still deliver it. I mean, you find another deal where they will take that letter either across town or across the country for 44 cents. Oh, so peel them and weep. Not me. I am glad. I'm glad to pay it. I couldn't be happier. It's the way I feel. Giving a tip after some good service at a very fine restaurant. So here are the details. The postal office estimates that the increase in costs will average about $3 a year. $3 a year for most households. You know how much I pay a month for my cell phone bill? Do you know how much we pay a month to have cable television in our house? Do you know how much we pay a month to have electricity in our house or gas in our house? And the increase is going to maybe represent $3 a year. Well, it's not just the 2-cent increase on your letter. The postcard stamp will increase 1 cent to 28. It's now 28 cents to mail a postcard. You can't. If I go over the number of minutes on my phone plan, or if someone in my system sends more text messages than are allowed, they charge more than 28 cents for that per text, per minute. They don't really do anything to move that along, right? They're not hand carrying the text. They're not hand carrying the phone conversation. These guys have to drive trucks and pay for bags and walk up to your house. The first ounce of a large envelope rises 5 cents. It's a big increase to 88 cents. And the first ounce of parcel increases 5 cents. New international postcards and letter prices are for 1 ounce 75 cents to Canada, 79 cents to Mexico, and 98 cents everywhere else. It's a deal no matter how you slice it. Second piece of the news today. The lawyers for Roxanne Sabari, the North Dakota resident and Minnesota-educated Iranian-American journalist has been arrested, say they're letting her go. She's getting out of there. No more problem here. You just keep moving along, lady. They were in all sorts of trouble with this gal. She overstayed her press credentials. Then apparently she ordered or was in possession of alcohol, which is illegal in Iran, like the U.S. in the 1920s. And then they started charging her with spying. And apparently the way that she got out of all of this was her attorneys went in and said, look, the U.S. and Iran are not at war. She's not a spy. That's a great answer, actually. Here's the article. American journalist jailed in Iran will be freed on Monday and can leave the country immediately, her lawyers said, after the appeals court suspended her 8-year prison sentence. And they're not kidding around over there. The 32-year-old dual American national was convicted last month of spying for the United States and sentenced to 8 years in prison. Her case has caused tension between the United States and Iran at a time when President Obama said he wanted to engage in Washington's longest-time adversary in a dialogue. The United States has called the charges against her baseless and demanded she be freed. That's what I think is funny about these kinds of public responses from governments about things like this. Those charges against her, you know what those are? They're baseless. Baseless, I say. Baseless? Okay. So what if they're baseless? She's going to jail. Baseless, I tell you. It's like when they come out after some atrocity of one political group or power faction against a group of innocent civilians, and the United States says things like, we deplore that kind of activity. We are outraged. Those attacks were baseless. Powerful language there, my friends. Powerful, powerful language. In the next few days, she's going to be heading home, and you don't think this gal's got her next 6 months laid out for her? I mean, she's got to gain a little weight because she's on a hunger strike. She's probably got to get her head cleared out because it's not an easy thing to be spending time in an Iranian prison, I'm sure. But after that, former NPR and kind of still NPR correspondent is going to be all over your local public radio. So if you're already a listener, wait till after this week in Minnesota because they're doing the pledge drive, and it's enough to make you want to poke your eye out. But after that, you're going to be hearing from our good friend Roxanne Sabari. Hey, updates here on The Question brought to you by the Onion Radio Network. We'll be back after this. Those of you watching on the YouTube, new video segment coming in a moment.